What's going on, guys? Today we are inside of Affinity Photo V2, and in today's tutorial we're going to take a quick look around the workspace for any of you guys that may be brand new to Affinity Photo. So when you first open up Affinity Photo, this may look a little bit overwhelming. However, it really isn't that complicated. So what we'll do is we'll start right here in the middle, and this section right here is going to be your workspace or your canvas area where you're going to start putting your project together. Then over to the right hand side is where you're going to find all of our studio panels that we would use throughout our projects. And to access any of these studio panels, all you got to do is select those. And you can see that we have some additional studio panels just here as well. And Affinity Photo have a large amount of different studio panels that you can use throughout your project, but you will find that you're not going to use most of the studio panels in here, so it's worth just having a little bit of a clear out and getting rid of the ones that you don't want to use. And the way that we would do that is by simply selecting any of these studio panels. Then we'll click down on our mouse and start to drag this out to the workspace area. And now you can see that we've got this little X appear just there. So if we go ahead and we select that, that is going to remove that studio panel. And you can make your way through all of these and start removing all the ones that you don't want to use. Alternatively, if you've accidentally deleted one of your studio panels and you want to bring that back, or you just want access to any of the other studio panels available inside of Affinity Photo, all you got to do is make your way up to the window menu on the top left hand side. Then down here we can see all of the different studio panels that we have available. Then all we got to do is select the one that we want, so I'll go ahead and choose that library. Then we'll drag this over and just let that snap into place anywhere over on the right hand side panel, so you can drop that in there. Alternatively, you can go ahead and move it up here if you want to. Or if you guys have a big enough screen, you can go ahead and drag some of these studio panels over to the left hand side also. Just drag that over till you see this big rectangle appear in blue. Go ahead and let that go. And now we can also have some of these studio panels on the left and the right hand side. So a majority of the time, the main panel that you are going to be inside of is going to be your layers panel right here. And I'll talk about the layers and how we use them in a separate tutorial, as well as how we'll use masks and the effects that we can put on our layers, etc. But for now, I'll continue with the workspace tutorial. So making our way over to the left-hand side toolbar menu. Inside of here is where you're going to find all the tools that we're going to use throughout our projects to create certain effects. And I will talk about all of these tools in their own tutorials, as they're all going to need a little bit more time just to talk about all of the settings and how you would use these correctly. But one thing that I do want to mention is just up here we have the context menu bar, and you will find when we select certain tools this will change. So if I go ahead and I just select maybe this one right here, you can see that we now have a different menu available inside of our context menu bar, and that will change upon different things that we choose. However, I'll also talk about the context menu and some of the features we have up here in future tutorials when I talk about some of these tools. So moving on, above that we have our main toolbar menu, and all of these buttons up here will never change. They're always going to stay the same throughout your project. And inside of this menu is where you're going to find functions such as snapping, which is going to make sure that all of your objects align with each other on your canvas. And as for all the settings over here on the right hand side, these are really just for moving your layers either on top or behind each other. And we'll talk more about all of these features as well as the alignment option right here once we go ahead and create our project in a future tutorial. And we'll also talk about some of these other features that we have available over on the left hand side of the toolbar menu, such as all of these automatic settings that we have for our images right here, as well as all of these different personas that we have access to, such as the liquefy persona, the develop persona, or the tone mapping persona. And all of these are going to need their own tutorials to explain what these do. But today's tutorial is mainly just to show you guys around the workspace and show you all of these individual panels. So all we really got left are a few different menus that we have on our top left hand toolbar menu, where we're going to have some options in here depending on the tools that we are using, where we can apply certain effects and do specific tasks. And we'll talk about that as well in another tutorial. So another thing that I want to mention as well, if you guys pay attention just down here at the bottom where we have a little bit of text information right there, once we select some of these tools, that's going to give you a little bit of information about that tool and what it is used for. So if at any point you get a little bit confused, you can always come back to that as a reference. And if any of you guys want to change your color wheel up here, or if you don't already have the color wheel and you want to use that yourself, then the way that we would do that is by using this hamburger menu just up here on the top right hand corner. And inside of here, we can change from wheel to sliders or down to boxes, or whichever way that you would like to work yourself. For me, I like to work with the color wheel, but that choice is yours. So as a quick overview on the Affinity Photo V2 workspace, this is all I'm going to cover, and I will talk about all of the tools in future tutorials. I've also created many different tutorials already on my channel inside of Affinity Photo, as well as Designer and Publisher, where I will talk you through all of the individual projects that I've created, as well as talk about all of those tools that I've used inside of those videos. So go ahead and check any of those other videos out, as I do aim to make all of my content beginner friendly. So you really shouldn't have any problems following along to any of my tutorials. So that is it for today's video. I hope you found it useful and you've learned something new, and I will see you in the next video.